Hey there smartphone fans, welcome back to Smartphone Wars, and I know you're excited about the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro full review, and it's here, but I've gone a step further. Since most of you are also looking at the Redmi Note 5, I decided to do my Zenfone Max Pro full review and a full comparison with the Redmi Note 5 just for you guys. So the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro or M1 is the first really good budget phone by ASUS. They've done a lot in the past, but they just weren't up to speed. This one has facial recognition, it's got stock Android 8.1, they've gotten rid of that ZenUI, it's got face unlock, it's got a huge battery, and it doesn't have any ASUS bloatware. That's it, just the ASUS calculator in there. I really can't believe it. I remember when ASUS had in the Zenfone like over 20 bloatware apps gone, none of them here. ASUS finally listened and decided to go for full stock Android, and it's paid off immensely, and it's one of the key features with my Redmi Note 5 comparison. And here are the two phones side by side. As you can tell here, the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro is running a vanilla version of Android. Now I got the 3GB RAM and 32GB of onboard storage version of the Zenfone Max Pro. It still has the Snapdragon 636, the Full HD plus 6-inch display, and it still has a really decent cameras, and most important, that 5000 mAh battery. Redmi Note 5 comes with similar specs, although it's still running Android 8.1 Oreo. It's on top of MIUI 9. Same Snapdragon 636, 6-inch Full HD plus display as well, but the global version does not have a face unlock feature, but it does support screen gestures which are built in MIUI 9 for practically every Xiaomi phone out there. And this is a phone that has a 4000 mAh battery, but it's heavy on the cameras, as you've seen perhaps in my Redmi Note 5 review, and I urge you to check that one out. However, ASUS Zenfone Max Pro, the move to stock Android has really paid off here, guys. Even with just 3GB of RAM, the Zenfone Max Pro runs like a flagship phone. There's hardly any slowdown, apps open instantaneously, and as I said, even with such low amounts of RAM by today's standard, because you can definitely buy a lot of 6GB RAM phones for around $300 these days, the Zenfone Max Pro does RAM management better than a lot of 4GB RAM phones I've seen on the market, and even some 6GB RAM ones, and it is probably due to the very well implemented stock Android and the fact that ASUS got rid of all the bloatware apps which were absolutely killing all the really lovely devices. Previously, they've gone for the best Snapdragon for the price, they've gone for a huge battery, they've gone for a great display, and it really pays off. As I said, compare that to the performance of the Redmi Note 5, which is still a snappy phone, but I think the MIUI 9 is a bit too heavy, and I do experience a sort of lag or slowdown every now and then, even if the Redmi Note 5 has 1 more GB of RAM and more storage. Onto the display, the Zenfone Max Pro and ASUS have done really well with the display here. I think they probably use a sharp panel because this is what it looks like. It has a wider color gamut than the Redmi Note 5, and it's a breeze and a blast use around everywhere. The side bezels, it's in top and bottom bezels are always perhaps the same as the Redmi Note 5, but the sheer contrast and color production of the display are more natural and more appealing to the eye, especially if you're watching videos and playing games for a long time. I've put on a series of tests here just to show you how really good the display is, how deep the blacks are, and how popped out and vivid the colors can be on the Zenfone Max Pro, and I really love that. Compare that to the Redmi Note 5, which also has a very good panel. The Redmi Note 5 has a really good display at a budget price, which both phones are priced practically the same in India, but I can definitely tell it has a narrower color gamut because the colors are not as deep and the blacks are not as deep as the Zenfone Max Pro you're seeing here. So my definite answer is that the Zenfone Max Pro display is better than the one with the Redmi Note 5. Sunlight visibility as well is decent on both devices with probably nothing really between them. Moving on to the sound quality, the Zenfone Max Pro is good, but the Redmi Note 5 is still better. Moving on to battery life, and the reason why most of you have really talked about the Zenfone Max Pro, and the battery life is really awesome on this phone. I'm talking about mega awesome here. Running an hour of YouTube video from Wi-Fi only drains the Zenfone Max's huge battery by just 6%. This is insane. We're talking about a dozen plus hours of watching YouTube on a single charge. And the Redmi Note 5 really can't do that. Yes, it's a 1000 mAh more battery. The charging time, however, is not really awesome because you have to wait around 3 full hours to fully charge the Zenfone Max Pro. Moving on to the Redmi Note 5, which also has a really good battery life, but I will have to say around 20 to 25% less than what the Zenfone Max Pro delivers. This could be again due to the stock Android, but it does charge quicker, and the Redmi Note 5 is able to be fully charged in just around 2 hours and around 10 minutes. So less battery life, but faster charging. Benchmarks, well, both phones have the same chip, probably the same RAM speed, and practically the same storage. What was noticeable is in the PC Mark test, the Zenfone Max Pro pulled around 10% higher than Snapdragon 636 in the Redmi Note 5, and again that really showed, but Geekbench and Tutu scores were within a 1 or 2% margin, which is absolutely nothing. If you watch my reviews carefully, you know that I really don't rely on benchmarks, and I want to really show you the good stuff. Gaming. Zenfone Max Pro is instantly recognized as a higher graphics device than the Redmi Note 5, as it's allowed to go to higher settings compared to Redmi Note 5 here, which only has the smooth and medium graphic settings, and it does run PUBG Mobile at these settings pretty decently, although I do see a few hiccups in frames here and there, even with more RAM. Now, just the 3GB RAM version of the Zenfone Max Pro is allowed to go to higher settings and delivers absolutely the same frame rate as the Redmi Note 5 on the much lower settings. And you can definitely tell here the graphics fidelity on the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro really benefits from those settings. Graphics look much smoother, textures are better, there's more lighting, more shadow effects, there's even better normal mapping as I can tell. So ASUS really did very well with the optimization of the graphics, and the PUBG Mobile was competitively playable even at these high settings with the Zenfone Max Pro. That is on a bit low $300 phone we're talking about. Coupled now with the huge 5000 mAh battery, looking at around 6 hours tops on a full charge playing PUBG Mobile, and I don't think any phone on the market can brag about that besides the Zenfone Max Pro. Now on to cameras. With all these neat tricks left, did ASUS pull a stinker with the cameras? If you followed ASUS's line, you know that they actually make pretty good cameras. The Zenfone line is one of the top camera phones line ever, and it shows here as well. Although the sensor inside the Zenfone Max Pro is technically far more inferior than the one in the Redmi Note 5, it does deliver awesome results in good lighting, especially with bokeh effects. They look much better than the ones on the Redmi Note 5 and even the Meizu E3. They're on par with luxury I've shot with the Huawei devices. One con is that at times, especially when there is not that much light going on, the Zenfone Max Pro will take around 7 to 8 seconds to process those bokeh effects. Other shots in good lighting to okay, really the same level of quality, pretty much the same really good camera as you would get with the Redmi Note 5 and any around $250. So it's really good, okay to good lighting shooting camera. Moving on to lower light scenes, indoor scenes were pretty decent as well with the Zenfone Max Pro. But moving on to like the f2.2 aperture really started to struggle, and shutter speed slowed down, and there's severe loss of detail, and the colors became a lot more murkier than in good lighting conditions. So it's really not the best low light camera, but it does shoot really good 4K video, even though it doesn't have electronic or optical stabilization. The Zenfone Max Pro tried a lot, but still the Redmi Note 5 delivers better shots in almost any scenario. You can probably never tell them apart in good lighting conditions, but the lower the lighting goes, the Redmi Note 5's technically much superior Samsung sensor really pulls off, although it doesn't do better bokeh effects, but really does them faster than the Zenfone Max Pro. So clearly Redmi Note 5 the better camera phone, and the video has electronic stabilization as well. So as with my Meizu E3 Redmi Note 5 comparison, here both phones are getting really good. We're getting so much value, and the ASUS Zenfone Max Pro is clearly, for me, the best gaming and performance budget phone with great endurance at a really cost-worthy price. There's a link to buy the phone below the video. It's probably not the best price you can find around, but I think you can find it anywhere else if you want to. It is clearly and absolutely the best gaming phone at its price, and it has the best battery life. Still, if there's one area that the Redmi Note 5 exceeds that, it's in the rear camera department. So thank you for watching my Zenfone Max Pro full review and Redmi Note 5 comparison. Give the video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel for more reviews like this, and stay true and stay honest, my friends.